Good day to you. The top Republican on the Senate Intelligence Committee, Richard Burr, is under pressure from Democrats and even some Republicans after his decision to sell off hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of stocks just 1 week before the market started its historic slide amid the coronavirus crisis. Now also under fire, Georgia's Republican Senator Kelly Loeffler, who also sold off large amounts of stocks recently. Both senators have received regular briefings since January that included non-public information from the administration about the pandemic before more drastic measures were put into place. Now, a spokesperson for Burr denied any wrongdoing and added that Burr has been deeply concerned by the steep and sudden toll this pandemic is taking on our economy. Loeffler tweeted overnight saying, quote, "I do not make investment decisions for my portfolio." Now, there are some other senators under a microscope for selling off stocks, including Republican James Inhofe and Democrat Dianne Feinstein. So far, haven't gotten any response from Inhofe, but a spokesperson for Feinstein tells the New York Times, quote, "All of Senator Feinstein's assets are in a blind trust." Kristen Welker, NBC News.
And a fifth senator is also accused and now on the defensive this morning. The website Raw Story reports that Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson sold his stake in his family's privately held company. He made anywhere between $5 and $25 million by selling his shares. Senator Johnson says that deal has been in the works since 2018 and it had nothing to do with the coronavirus outbreak. Some critics are not buying that this morning.
The rush is on for Americans traveling in other countries to return to the United States. The State Department issued a rare travel alert urging people to stop international traveling during the pandemic. King 5's Kira L. Fallon with more from SeaTac.
Yeah, so many of these families are just trying to get back home as quickly as they can, especially after hearing that warning from the U.S. State Department, really just warning Americans not to be traveling abroad right now, and also telling those who are already overseas to come back home as quickly as they can. So Krista Hendricks and her dad were initially on their way to Amsterdam on March 11th. They had to turn around after they landed because of the president's travel restrictions. When they got back to the U.S., they decided not to waste a vacation and to head to Guatemala. Well, she says she may have underestimated the scope of the crisis at that time.
This is totally unprecedented, and I guess I just didn't think that things would escalate.
Fast forward, and Hendricks and her dad find themselves at the airport in Mexico City trying to come home. They were both ready to leave when suddenly they were told they were not allowed to be on that flight. Now, we did actually get an update from her, and she says they have booked their flights and she is on her way home to Utah. Her dad is supposed to be returning here at SeaTac at 1 o'clock this afternoon. From SeaTac Airport, I'm Kira L. Fallon, King 5 News.
And today, the United States expected to announce restrictions on traveling between here and Mexico in an effort to slow the spread of coronavirus. NBC News reporting it'll be similar to what's going on with Canada, where the borders are shut down unless it is deemed essential and the trade would not be impacted.
Italy has now more coronavirus deaths than China, where this outbreak began. Italian officials say more than 3,400 people have died. Italy reports more than 41,000 positive cases. Now, across the globe, that number has now topped 200,000. In the U.S., some states, of course, are taking extreme measures to contain the outbreak.
We need to bend the curve in the state of California. And in order to do that, we need to recognize the reality.
California Governor Gavin Newsom making the announcement yesterday that all of California is now ordered to shelter in place, meaning unless it is absolutely necessary, 40 million people will be staying home.
The CDC is revealing a concerning trend. It says more younger adults are being hospitalized for coronavirus. The CDC looked at more than 2,400 cases across the country, and it found a fifth of people hospitalized for coronavirus were between the ages of 20 and 44. The CDC says the death rate for this age group, though, is low, but they're still concerned about younger Americans spreading the virus. And of course, you can see there, this comes as spring break is in full effect in some places like Florida.
Obviously, people our age are like, oh, like it doesn't affect us. There's cheap flights. Like, let's do this.
Well, the governor in Florida is refusing to close beaches, but is limiting parties to 10 people per group. Some beaches, though, plan to close on their own. Here's a look at the latest numbers the Washington Health Department released. 8% of the confirmed cases here are between 20 and 29 years old. 13% are in their 30s, 14% in their 40s, and 16% in their 50s. So these numbers are why health experts are stressing to people of all ages the importance of social distancing.
Governor Jay Inslee wants help from the U.S. Navy. He sent President Trump a letter yesterday asking for a hospital ship, the USNS Mercy, to come to Seattle. The ship is outfitted with its own doctors, nurses, and equipment, and Governor Inslee says that he anticipates Washington State's hospitals will be in crisis by the end of this month. The Mercy is currently docked in San Diego. There is one report that says they began loading supplies and personnel yesterday, expecting to sail to Seattle, but it could be rerouted as necessary. The Navy has announced that an officer training in our state at Naval Base Kitsap has tested positive for coronavirus, so that person is being isolated on the base, and people who came in close contact with the sailor have also been quarantined.
The governor issued an order to halt all dental service and elective surgeries in the state, and that includes joint replacements, cataract surgeries, and some cardiac procedures that are just not urgent right now. The order was issued to try and free up room in local hospitals. People hoping to start a family using in vitro fertilization treatments will have to wait a little bit longer. Local fertility clinics are putting scheduled IVF cycles on hold. They are following new recommendations from the American Society for Reproductive Medicine. The organization says all fertility treatments should be suspended to keep people at home and preserve medical supplies for urgent needs. And fertility doctors have been delivering this news to their patients.
It's a really difficult thing to tell a patient that building your family is considered elective. It's pretty devastating.
Doctors say anyone in the middle of an IVF treatment can finish it, but all new cycles are going to have to wait.